Why is an Indian bank being investigated by US law firms? What are the allegations on it, and most importantly, how these allegations and any kind of impact of this flaw is going to impact all of India, including you. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh. And in today's session, we are going to understand this allegation of one of the most important banks in our country, that there has been some misleading information that they have been giving to their investors. Now let us begin and understand this from scratch, that how US law firms are involved, why it is being investigated, and other things around it. The most important one, how does this impact you? So when we are looking at this, what we are seeing that three US law firms, they have launched an investigation and they are trying to understand that if HDFC Bank has given misleading information to their investors. Now, in this context, the first important thing that we have to understand, that as of now, this is an investigation. And this investigation has been undertaken by law firms. There has been no finalization of guilt, there has been no conviction or anything final to it. But what is the problem then here? The problem here is, when we are talking about the working of banks, they are running not just on money, loans and deposit, but also the trust. Now, because of this investigation, the trigger has led to a sharp fall, not just in share prices of HDFC Bank in India, but also ADRs, that is American Depositary Receipts, in New York Stock Exchange. So we need to understand that as well. Now we have understand that they are being investigated. The main question here is, what are they being investigated for? So this situation has arisen because HDFC Bank was saying that we are giving some payment in the name of X, but actually the payment was happening in the name of Y. What do I mean by this? For example, let's just say you are going for a vacation. You have labeled that expenditure as loan EMI. So the problem here is not that money has not gone out. Money has gone out, but the labeling, that means the classification, is wrong. And the same problem has been seen here. Around rupees 45 crore has been paid to, the allegation is, Maharashtra State Road Development Corporation, and the problem with this payment is that this payment was labeled as marketing expenses, rather this should have been labeled as interest payments. So this is what the report is suggesting, that because of this labeling itself, there might have been higher returns. And apart from that, this higher return was specific to one depositor. Now, based on RBI rules, this is not allowed. And this is what the investigation is happening for. And why this classification is so important? Because this is the information that is given to the investors based on which they make their decision. So the problem here is not the money has not gone out, money has gone out, but where it has gone to, and this has been taken up as misleading information. And if this part of report is true, that one specific depositor has been given more return, then based on RBI's norm, this is also not allowed. Now the question is, if this is the thing that is wrong happening, 45 crore has been paid in India to some corporation in India, why US is involved here? Why US law firm has decided to investigate? Now when we are looking at that, we have to look at the expanse that at which HDFC work. HDFC Bank is not only listed in India on the stock exchange, it is also listed on the New York Stock Exchange. But when we are talking about the New York Stock Exchange, it is listed as a American Depository Share. Now when it is listed as an ADR, it has to follow the framework, the law that is given for securities in US, that is US Securities Disclosure Law. Very briefly, we'll understand what exactly is ADR and how does it function. So when we are looking at some foreign investment, let's just say a foreigner is interested to invest in Indian company, per se a Indian bank, HDFC Bank, how they will do it? They will be able to buy the shares of HDFC Bank, which is listed on New York Stock Exchange in form of a ADR. Now, how does an ADR work? Basically, this is a certificate. Now this certificate shows that you have bought a specified number of shares. 1 share, 2 share, 3 share. And once you have that, you have the ownership of that company's stock. So let's just say a citizen in US decided to invest in HDFC Bank. And how does he get to invest? He would have to use ADR to buy the shares there. Now, because of this listing, US law firms have launched this investigation. Now that we are clear with this, let us also try to understand, has it created any impact yet? Yes, it has already created ripples across the globe, because when we are talking about the impact, it is seen in terms of share prices. The share prices in India have already taken a plunge. We are looking at dip of more than 8%. If we are talking about ADR at New York Stock Exchange, it has dropped more than 11%. Now, when we are talking about this drop, you also might question that it is just an investigation as of now. So, in the start only, I explained you that banks do run on deposits, profits and their customers, but at the same time, it is a business of trust. Now, this particular investigation is showing a future risk, and that is why investors are not comfortable with this sort of future risk, and that is why this plunge has been seen. Because as of now, the law firm is clearly investigating if the investors received the proper, complete and accurate disclosure because of where money is going. Investors should know. Apart from that, if any misleading information has gone out and it has affected the investment decision of the investors, then that means HDFC Bank is liable for actions. Apart from that, another bad news might be incoming if this is true, that US shareholders are liable for proper legal claims if they have made losses because of this very misleading information. Now, in all of this situation, we clearly understand that how US law firms are involved, how HDFC Bank is under the gun. But a bigger question comes in here, that when we are seeing losses in our country, in our share markets as well, how I was saying that all of us are going to be affected. The reason I am saying that it is going to affect all of us is because of the fact that HDFC happens to be one of the biggest banks in our country. So big that RBI has labeled it specifically Domestic Systemically Important Banks. That means when we are looking at HDFC, we do not just have to see a place where the deposits are made. We have to understand that this is a bank which is as big as 2% of the GDP of our country. As of now, India has 3 domestic systematically important banks. Can you tell me in the comment section which are these banks? One I have already told you, that is HDFC Bank. Now, what are D-SIBs? D-SIBs are those banks which are too big to fail. That means if anything at all goes wrong with the HDFC Bank, it is not just the account holders of this bank that need to be worried. It is the economy that needs to be worried, because the impact is such that it will be felt all across the economy. Now, you might be thinking how? Let me give you a very simple example. Banks are responsible for giving out bank loans. If HDFC banks for any reason at all found up guilty on this very investigation or defaults in any situation, in that situation bank loans would be difficult. They will become more stringent. That means the businesses which need loan will be suffering. They might be making loss. They might have to shut down, and the economy will be in a difficult situation. There are times we have seen the big banks falling out and affecting the whole globe. I am talking about the 2008 world crisis that we saw, the world economic crisis that we saw together. Now, in this context, we also have to clearly establish that when we are talking about HDFC Bank, this is not something that is happening for the first time. Previously, in this very year, we saw a clear resignation coming from the part-time chairman of the HDFC Bank, and he said that there are certain things for which his ideology does not match, his ideology does not align with the bank. Just after that, again, investigations did flare up, but HDFC Bank denied all allegations. Even it appointed 2 independent legal reviews, one by US law firm, another by Indian legal law firm. Other than that, RBI also came into the picture, RBI checked, and RBI clearly stated that there is no material governance concerns. Now in this context, this shows that the problems has been shadowing HDFC Bank, and any time a problem, a big issue is shadowing such a bank, that is a problem for us also. Because when big banks fail, we do not only see bank loans getting difficult to come out, stock markets are impacted, economy is hit, mutual funds, pension funds, they are the ones, they lose maximum value because they have a huge amount of banking shares. Foreign investors, this is the biggest area that finds a hit because the investor confidence across the globe becomes dim, and this makes them cautious. So when we are talking about just one bank going down, it takes away the confidence in the whole banking system of that country, and it has further repercussions involved. Because when we are talking about a bank, as I said, it is not just about bank loan. It is not just about the bank loans, especially when we are looking at large banks. They are the ones who support home loans, who are the ones support business credit, digital payment, the framework around digital payment, corporate salaries, UPI settlement, and everyday banking services to a huge chunk of crowd in our nation or other as well. So that is why systematically important banks do not only matter to their account holders, but to every aspect of the economy, including you. Now in this particular situation, do we need to remain cautious, or what we need to learn from this? As of now, the investigation is ongoing. There is no conclusion to it. HDFC Bank has denied, but because of the trust deficit, we are seeing a sharp decline in the shares and the ADRs, which shows us a very clear lesson about banking, which I have pointed out more than thrice in this lesson, that banks are not just built on deposits and capitals, they are built on trust. Now when I'm talking about this, let us talk about a very important concept right here. When we are talking about depositors run or bank run situation, that does not happen only when the bank has defaulted. It also happens if people think that bank will default. That means all the depositors will come to get their deposits out. So all of these are very important to understand how closely, intricately big banks, our economies are related. Now what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. I'll be waiting for that. Also, this is a very simple, direct prelims practice question. I'll be waiting for your answers. I have covered domestic systematically important banks. Another big concept here is global systematically important banks. This is a direct question on that. Let me know the answer to this as well. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.